I find any work I do with the animals is really therapeutic. You know, I think it's fairly well known that having company of animals can have a therapeutic effect. After a busy day working with people and using my brain with computers in my day job, coming home and being around the animals is really not extra work. It feels like I've totally switched over in something totally different, and it feels good. You've seen the animals, they walk up, they're happy to see you, they just want a little bit of cuddling or attention, and it feels so great. Their needs are so simple. They just want a little bit of love, some good food, and nice shelter, and they're happy.
We feed the animals, and we made the rabbit cage. My favorite animal is the cats because they're so soft and gentle.
Basically for me, it is being close to the animal, being able to take care of them. And we live not too far from here, and so it's a real treat. Like, we live in the suburbs, and there's hardly any animals there other than some dogs you may see. But over here, you just drive a little bit, and you're surrounded by horses, you're surrounded by goats, you're surrounded by wonderful cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, and all these other animals. And last time I brought my friends, and all these animals that came to just, welcome us, just surrounded us.
There's this wonderful union that happens between the volunteers who come here and the animals when they connect together, and the people get to see the unique aspects of each individual personality in the animals. They see their individuals and they'll bond with a certain animal, and these connections are amazing, and to me those are the things that cause the ripple effects that can make changes in the way we think about animals and the roles they play in our lives. As a sanctuary, we allow them to stay here and live out their lives, most of them. We're starting to foster out more and more, which allows us to make room for taking in others, but we're pretty well at capacity. And with the hay shortage this year, we've had to say no to a lot. It's going to be a challenge just feeding the ones we have for this winter. We have about 50 animals that we have in residence here. Now and then we can take in one of the small animals like a rabbit or a cat that don't take up a lot of resources, but for any of the larger farm animals, we're already at capacity. I had my own farm that I had just bought for my daughter and myself with the intention of having just a few animals for the two of us. But we fostered cats and kittens for the Humane Society, and once they knew we had a farm, they asked us if we'd take in a potbelly pig and then another potbelly pig. So we started doing the farm animal rescue thing with that, and then I realized how many farm animals need a home, that people get to a point where they can't properly take care of them, either that they can't contain them properly, or it's too much work, or for one reason or another they can no longer take care of the animals. So there's lots that need homes, and so we started taking in more and more animals that were rescued into the sanctuary. Then one summer people started bringing in wild animals that needed rescue. It started with a little fawn, and when that happened, I started looking into what are you supposed to do with wildlife, and realized you have to have a wildlife license, you need all these to meet all these requirements, and there are very few wildlife centers in this area, especially that would take in a fawn. And when I phoned around to wildlife centers and found a place to take this fawn, people were encouraging me, well, if you have a farm and you like caring for animals, maybe you could consider starting a wildlife center. And I brought it up with a few local friends who have property in this area. They were very supportive. I have a veterinarian who was supportive, and I decided to ease into it. Most of the animals that come in for wildlife rehab are orphans, which is sad. usually either the mother has been killed on the road, or the mother has been seen as a nuisance in an area and people trap her and move her away, and then suddenly they discover there's a whole bunch of babies that were hidden away that start screaming for food after a couple days. So it starts out very sad, and it feels so good when you get those little animals to the point where they're ready to go out in the wild in the fall. So I've had an experience with a 2-week-old baby raccoon, the size of my hand, eyes still closed, totally dependent on the world, on someone to care for it. And raised it till it's a big, burly, strong raccoon, knows how to hunt on its own, and there's nothing like it. And it's, wildlife rehab, you don't get paid. It's all totally volunteer. You're constantly begging for donations and money, but the reward of raising a little helpless orphan to be released back in the wild and be near these fascinating creatures with their little hands investigating everything, and it is amazing. Yeah, of course that's worth it. That's why people do it.